Hello and welcome to Spy Hunter on the Commodore 64, and this is a conversion of the 1983 Bally Midway coin-op, and I think this conversion came out 84, and I never had it originally on my C64 when it came out. I later had it on compilation, but before that I used to play it on my friend's Spectrum. So we'll play it novice level because I'm a bit rusty at this game. And the idea is that you take control of your spy and you're in your little car, and you can acquire all sorts of gadgets for the car. But you start off with just a machine gun, and not all the cars are enemies like this one here. He's just a civilian car, so there's a few civilian cars. That's a civilian car as well, and there's really 3 enemy cars. One I've just driven by a second ago, which is the Switchblade. He's got little blades that come out. You can't ram him from the side, otherwise he knocks you off the road. There's the what's he called, the Road Lord. There he is there. He's actually bulletproof. You can only ram him off the roads or use oil or smoke weapons on him, which we don't have yet, so I'll try and ram this guy off the road. Now, the C64 version, the car has quite a lot of inertia. It's quite tricky to get used to it, but you do get used to it, but yeah, it can be a little off-putting at first. So I've just passed a weapons van. They should catch up with me. And this is the smoke weapon. If you just line out yourself up. Come on. So once he drives to the side of the road and lets us out, and we should now have the smoke screen. Now, because I selected joystick as my control method, the way to activate these extra weapons is to use the fire button on the other joystick. So I shall now do this. I can't. Well, never mind. So anyway, that's the smoke screen. But you saw a sign that saying bridge out, detour left. That means you've got to stay to the left of the screen, go down this little lane and through the gatehouse, and you turn into a boat. So yeah, it's a proper spy car slash boat that you're driving here. And when you're in the water, there's 2 opponents. There's these guys that drop barrels, explosive barrels, and if you go really slowly, that's a barrel I just missed there. Eventually, an enemy will come out. He's called Dr. Torpedo, and guess what? He fires torpedoes at you. So you can't just cruise really slowly, otherwise you'll be destroyed from behind. Now, you can stay in these water sections as long as you like, but the game doesn't really progress until you come out. And I'm not quite sure. If the game's actually got an end. I don't think it does, but it does progress through a few levels. There's a sort of yellow field type level. Then there's a stretch of icy roads. I'll use this. So now, if I hold down fire, on the other joystick, it will release, just alternates between these weapons. If I slow down now and get this one, if I can. This is the missile which you use to take on the final opponent, which is the helicopter. I think it's called Mad Bomber. So guess what? He drops bombs at you. I think these extra weapons is you've got to get in front of the other cars in order for them to be effective. Yeah, so you can also play using the keyboard, which is maybe a bit easier, especially if you're sitting at the keyboard or you're using an emulator. But I'm just playing with the joystick because that's the way I used to play it back in the day, and because I am actually using a keyboard in the emulator here, it doesn't like me pressing certain combinations of keys, so I can't actually use the keyboard anyway, the keyboard option. it doesn't let me use the smoke screen and move left right for some reason. So joystick it is. And these aren't unlimited, they do eventually run out. Right, so here's the helicopter, or the Mad Bomber as he's called, and then he's just pissed off, so don't have to worry about him at the moment. He'll come back pretty soon, unless I get destroyed. Yeah, go away. Yep, and he will start to drop a bomb. There you go, we'll launch my little missile at him. I think you've only got 2 or 3 missiles. I say they only fire when he's in range. There we go. Well, that's 2, I've still got some. Oh! And of course, I've now lost all the weapons, which is not a great feature. I hate games that do that, but never mind. And of course I can't destroy him now, so I just need to avoid him. Yeah, so I never had the original of this when it came out. I had it on compilation, Arcade Hall of Fame, released by US Gold. Had a few other games, US Gold games on there. But this is one of the games that I used to play quite a lot. But I used to play it more on my friend's Spectrum, and to be honest, I think the Spectrum version is a bit more fun than this. Not that this is a particularly bad game or even a bad conversion. I think it's pretty good on both counts. But the Spectrum version, well, the controls are a bit easier. It didn't have the inertia, and you could release the extra weapons using one joystick. All you did was press fire and left and right to use the power-ups. So the controls are just much better on the Spectrum. I'm not quite sure why that helicopter exploded. I don't think I had any missiles left, but maybe I did. Yeah, so I do prefer the Spectrum version, and I still play it now and then. Actually, I quite like it. But I still think the 64 version is pretty decent. I think graphically, I think it's pretty good when it came out. I mean, it doesn't hold up well compared to, you know, even games that came out, you know, a year or 2 after. You know, it's easily beaten on the graphics front. Sound effects, I think the sound effects are okay. They're pretty decent. The music's alright. It doesn't get too annoying. It's not exactly stunning, but it's okay. Yeah, the other cars, they sort of vary from fairly decent to barely recognisable as cars. Gameplay, yeah, I think the gameplay is pretty good. I wouldn't say it was amazing. Get off. But yeah, I think it's a pretty decent take on sort of race game, sort of driving, come shoot 'em up. So I'm not a big fan of the arcade game. I just couldn't get into it when I tried playing the various versions of it. But yeah, I quite like the C64 version and the Spectrum version. Oh. I do think the Spectrum version is a little better, but yeah, so I'll give the C64 version, I'll give it Icy Roads here. This is where the inertia gets even worse, believe it or not. There we go. Oh yeah. So I'll give the C6. I'll give this version. I'll give it 7 out of 10. I think it's a pretty good game. I wouldn't say it was amazing, but it's pretty good. And I'll see you in the next video.